So, yet again, some time ago, I promised myself I would do more actual videos, and you know. So, here we go, trying again, getting back on the horse. It was actually some a friend's advice was instead of worrying about what you have done in the past, or like what your streaks have been or whatever in the past. It's more about like how quick can you get back on the horse and keep challenging yourself to do something. And you shouldn't challenge yourself to do something to the end of time or anything, if it's just not for you or whatever. But this is gonna be, doing videos is gonna be quite an important part of what I hope to accomplish. So it's something that's kind of necessary, and it is good for my confidence and well-being and so on. Anyway, that's besides the point. My my main thought for this video was I had been thinking about I was doing a downward facing dog for the millionth time in the last 6 or 7 years since I started practicing kind of conscious stretching and yoga and doing the asanas and things. And it was occurring to me that even though I've done this downward facing dog move hundreds of times in the last few years, in some like yoga flows or whatever, you'll maybe do it like a dozen times. And every single time I have to consciously think about every sort of factor, the like how to arrange my hands and shoulder blades and pressing my chest back towards my legs and hips up and heels down and belly button towards the spine and all these different elements that you kind of like have to think about. And for a lot of neurotypical people, or for like people who don't struggle with sensory stuff and interoception and all these kind of things, eventually all of those little parts become just automatic. But for a lot of us it just doesn't, and it probably won't ever, or at least it might take like a couple of decades of practicing this for these things to become automatic for me. And I think overall it's not actually, that's not a bad thing in itself necessarily. The fact that I have to think about all these things, it helps tire my brain out in a kind of more healthy, more helpful, less anxiety fueled way. And I think overall doing all this kind of conscious stretching and stuff is really good for my interoception skills and building that internal knowledge and stuff. But it's just one more way in which being neurodivergent is just that bit more tiring. It's just one, and it's this just one thing in a day or whatever, where there's just like this extra mental load or this extra factor acting on our energy levels. And ultimately the whole point of all of this rambling is just that there's probably so many of these that each of us just isn't aware of on like a daily basis. And so let's just maybe try and kinder to ourselves, be more compassionate and understanding to ourselves, that there are going to be so many things that just are harder and are more tiring, and that's not fair. It really sucks. I really wish it wasn't like that, but it is. And one of the best things we can do for ourselves is just show ourselves compassion, be understanding to ourselves that life is a bit more tiring when you have those extra factors to deal with. And like I say, in this particular instance, I don't think it's even necessarily a bad thing. I think it's probably a pretty healthy thing overall. But maybe you're someone who's neurodivergent or whatever, and you go to a yoga class, and maybe you've never thought before that there'll be these extra tiring features to it. Maybe you wonder why you don't feel energized after an energizing, Pilates session or whatever. It's like, yeah, you might feel kind of physically pumped from, getting your circulation going and stuff. But maybe, not for all of us, we're all different, but for some of us, there will be all this extra mental burden that we've never really considered before. And maybe we just need a bit of extra time to recover and restore some energy and claw back some spoons, And maybe it's not fair that you know, something that's meant to be, you know, healthy and restorative or energizing or whatever has this different impact on us. But it's important to recognize that it does. And we deserve to look after ourselves, and we deserve to show ourselves compassion and understanding and recognize that it's just a bit more tiring sometimes. You don't have to be okay with that, but you do have to be nicer to yourself about it. Okay? I'm telling you. Listen to me. I definitely know what I'm talking about. I'm definitely the expert on being kind to myself. So, you know, you totally listen to me. But anyway, I thought I would share my realization, and I hope that it helps someone somewhere. As for the rest of it, I am going to try and get on with my day. I've been up since 4:30 this morning for no reason, so that's possibly why I'm a bit frazzled. But I'm just going to do this anyway. I'm going to upload it, and I'm going to try and get on with my day and my week. And, you know, all the best. Live long and prosper.